Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Till God's skies illuminate, and with His light they radiate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Buried in your heart, the son of Fatima, Waris of Adam wa Nur al-Mustafa. Waris of Adam wa Nur al-Mustafa. That Hussein ibn Ali al-Murtaza. That Hussein ibn Ali al-Murtaza. In the face of tyranny and oppression. In the face of tyranny and oppression, his resilience makes you still reverberate. His resilience makes you still reverberate, till God's skies illuminate, and with His light they radiate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. He who taught us how to beat adversity, never compromise on our humanity. He who fought violence with generosity, and became the standard of integrity. And became the standard of integrity. Only if his model we could emulate. Only if his model we could emulate. Till God's skies illuminate, and with His light they radiate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your message is pristine and pure. Karbala, your message is pristine and pure. Allegiance is to Allah, none other. Allegiance is to Allah, none other. Wealth and power never should inspire awe. We shall always support the friend of God. We shall always support the friend of God. Till our final breaths we shall endure. Till our final breaths we shall endure. Till God's skies illuminate, and with His light they radiate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم تسليما كثيرا.
أحسنتم.
Over to you, brother.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك وعلى آل بيتك الطيبين الطاهرين. صلى الله عليك وعلى ابن عمك شهيد المحراب علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام، وعلى بضعتك الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء المظلومة المغصوبة، وعلى ولدك السبط الحسن المجتبى المقطع الأحشاء ورابع أصحاب الكساء، وعلى ولدك الحسين شهيد كربلاء ومسلوب العمامة والرداء. طبتم سادتي وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم، وفزتم هنيئا لكم. يا ليتنا يا ليت نفوز بأهل ثاركم فيكون فوزا عظيما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. اللهم مكن لقائم على محمد في الأرض سيدنا أحمد الحسن سلام الله عليه، ومكن لبقية الله في الأرض محمد بن الحسن المهدي عليه السلام، ومكن لأولادهما المنتجبين المصطفين الأخيار المهديين. اللهم اقضي حوائجهم واحفظهم من كل سوء وداء ومكروه، وريح قلوبهم وارزقهم الصحة والعافية وأصلح أمورهم. So it's always worth doing a quick translation of the ziyarah or the salawat we just read a little while ago, which means blessings be upon you, O my master, O God's messenger. Blessings be upon you and upon your pure and good family. Blessings be upon you and upon your cousin, the martyr of the pulpit, Shaheed al-Mihrab, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. وعلى بضعتك الطاهرة, and upon the pure part of you, who is Fatima al-Zahra, the one who was wronged, the one who had her rights stolen. And upon your son Al-Sibd Al-Hasan Al-Mujtaba, Al-Muqatta' Al-Ahsha, the one whose internal organs were cut up. وَرَابِعِ أَصْحَابِ الْكِسَاء, and the fourth one of the people of the cloak. طِبْتُمْ وَعَلَى وَلَدِكَ الْحُسَيْنِ, and upon your son Al-Husayn, the martyr of Karbala, and the one whose turban and his cloak were snatched from him, were torn from him. طِبْتُمْ سَادَتِي وَطَابَتِ الْأَرْضُ الَّتِي فِيهَا دُفِنْتُمْ, you have done well, or glad tidings to you, and glad tidings on the earth in which you are buried, and you were successful. وَفُزْتُمْ هَنِيئًا لَكُمْ, congratulations, you were successful. يا ليتنا يا ليت نفوز بأهل ثاركم فيكون فوزا عظيما. If only, if only, if only we were successful with the people of your revolution, and that would be a mighty success indeed. So, brothers and sisters, this is the fourth Majlis of the extremely sad and blessed at the same time month of Muharram, in which is commemorated, which is remembered for the martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his companions and many of his family members, and effectively attack was on the divine government of Allah on earth. So there are a lot of narrations received from the Prophet's family that have been handed down over the eras, over the ages, verbally and in writing. Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan salamullahi alayhi often describes himself as being like his grandfather Hussein. And it took a while in the beginning when, all of us, we were lost before the Sayyid arrived, to understand what is it why is Sayyid Ahmed Hassan talking about Imam Hussein so much? And it was almost like the whole of religion is like with Imam Hussein. The whole of the religion is in the Khilafah, it's in the vicegerency of God on earth. The whole of the religion is in a man, and that man is Imam of your time. And the Sayyid Salamullah Ali, he says these things regularly, that you begin to think, maybe that is what Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan is trying to tell us. And as you read books like the Allegories and Mutashabihat, and you read more and more of his answers to questions, you begin to see that indeed the uprising of Imam Hussein, it was spectacular, it was a divine event. It wasn't just somebody who was trying to, wage a war. It wasn't somebody who was self-important or self-centered or egotistical. Actually, it was the purest thing on earth at that time. So much so that it's like a personal experience, is almost like a flame. As you get closer and closer and closer to this flame, you begin to see the beauty in this flame. And it's almost like it begins to attract you. And it attracts you and attracts you and attracts you. And you begin to see more and more wisdom in that flame. You see more and more. It turns into a universe, which far away, because you're surrounded by darkness, you're not able to see the beauty in that flame. That's a bit like the revolution of Imam Hussein. And once you get close to that, you cannot tear yourself away. Something something touches the soul inside of all of us. When we get closer to Imam Hussein, we read about why he was trying to do all these things. You begin to see how he was like divinity, angels, spirituality, knowledge, wisdom, insanity, insaniya, sorry, not insanity, astaghfirullah, insaniya, humanity, insaniya, humanity, and wisdom, patience, virtues, light, all the good things of this earth, sensibility, family values, all of the good things were embodied in Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So you end up with a path where your choice, either you listen to what other people say about Imam Hussein, and they portray the picture of someone who wasn't sensible, power hungry, egotistical, or you listen to the purest on earth, who are his descendants and his family members, and Sayyid Ahmed Hasan today, who give you the correct image of what Imam Hussein was trying to do. And you begin to realize that the few people who held on to Imam Hussein, he set off from Mecca with, some narrations say, thousands of people. But as he neared Kufa and he became incarcerated, then when he asked people if they wanted to leave, they could leave. Then he found people were hightailing it. They were disappearing from him, and the only few people were left steadfast with him. So Sayyid Ahmed Hassan, he says that the revolution of Hussein, peace be upon him, aimed to revive the Islamic Muhammadan revolution and its reformative essence, which the Umayyads wanted to transform into merely a military uprising to establish an Arab empire in the name of Islam. The uprising of Hussein came to tell people everywhere and at all times that Islam does not aim to establish an Arab or Islamic empire. So Islam does not aim to establish an Arab or Islamic empire. And this is in the book of At-Tayh or At-Tariq ila-Allah, which is by Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan, one of the early books that he wrote. It is very interesting. In another place, Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan once explained about Ibrahim alayhi salam. This is on his Facebook page actually, that Ibrahim alayhi salam's language wasn't Arabic. So don't think that the religion of God is necessarily 100% linked to Arabic. Ibrahim was Arabic, Islam is Arabic. It just so happens that the final revelation was revealed in Arabic, which was the language of the people of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his family. However, divinity, Ibrahim alayhi salam, other prophets, they were not Arabs. And in fact, there is a book written by Dr. Ala Salim, in which he breaks down why the miracle of the Quran is not its language actually, it's the effect it has on you, and why the Arabic language doesn't necessarily have a superiority over other languages on earth. It doesn't. It's a misunderstanding. And that way of thinking, you could argue, like the Sayyid has said here, it's coming from the Umayyads. They were all about Arab supremacy, Arab superiority. But that's not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants on earth. It's not what He wants. Having said that, at the same time, the Sayyid encourages us to learn Arabic because the Islamic texts are in Arabic. So, brothers and sisters, in the spiritual realms, it doesn't mean that we speak Arabic, and also in heaven doesn't necessarily mean we will all speak Arabic. And it may be a misunderstanding for people to assume this, because the spiritual realms, they don't have a language actually. You don't have speech like we do on this physical realm. So I wouldn't be surprised if any of us ever see Imam Hussein and Islam in the dream, that he may not even have to say anything. It may be communication through telepathy or through malamih, like you sense something, you perceive something from him, he perceives something from you. If you see Prophet Muhammad, if you see Ibrahim alayhi salam, it's not necessary that they will communicate in language the way we communicate in language on this physical earth. So coming back to the point of Imam Hussein, and today we want to talk a little bit about Muslim bin Aqil. There's a lot of parallels in, like I was saying earlier, in Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan's way of thinking and Imam Hussein's way of thinking. Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan has said that there's a Hussein in every era. So you must go and flock and support the Hussein of your era. And in our era, it's Ahmed Al-Hasan. Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan has said that his nose is like the nose of his grandfather Hussein. It's like made of stone, meaning you can't force him to bend to your will, the same way that Imam Hussein couldn't be forced to bend to the will of the tyrant Yazid alayhi. Imam Hussein alayhi salam was a true leader of the people of his time. The people used to flock to him, but only the purest of the pure remained steadfast with him. The same way with Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan salamullahi alayhi. People have stayed steadfast with him throughout the years he's been inviting people since the turn of the century. Same thing happened with Imam Hussein. A small group of people stayed steadfast with him till the end. Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan salamullahi alayhi has correspondence at the 4 representatives in the Najaf office and representatives around the world. And he communicates through the office, through his closest representatives. The same way Imam Hussein alayhi salam sent Muslim bin Aqil to Kufa to check out the situation and prepare the way for Imam Hussein to come. So look how Imam Hussein sent Muslim bin Aqil, Aqil being one of the brothers of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So therefore Muslim bin Aqil is the cousin of Imam Hussein. So Muslim bin Aqil, and many of us will know the story of Muslim bin Aqil, and it's a very poignant story. And it just goes to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God Almighty, He's used certain pious people to teach us all a lesson. If you ever have the goodwill, the good fortune rather, to go and visit Kufa, you begin to get the mental image of what happened, where Imam Ali alayhi salam was buried, martyred, where Muslim bin Aqil was buried, where Hani bin Urwa was buried, where Mukhtar was buried. And you begin to get an understanding of the geography and of the location, and how the Masjid of Kufa is an amazingly blessed place where many prophets have prayed, and even some narrations say that the Prophet Muhammad in the night journey he prayed there also. So you begin to get an understanding and a feeling of how blessed that area is in Kufa. But how is it that after some say 18,000 letters reached Imam Hussein from Kufa, how is it that the people of Kufa betrayed Imam Hussein, betrayed his messenger, his representative Muslim? What happened? Well, there's a lot of information out there, and it's all designed to try and help us get to the truth. Ultimately, these accounts don't always give you the full story. I'm not saying that these accounts are not reliable. What I'm saying is usually the situation is actually a bit more scary and a bit worse than what is normally narrated. So if it says, for example, Muslim bin Aqil was disrespected, they treated him badly, don't assume that whatever you see in the story is all that they did. Because when you deal with despots who have no mercy in their heart, they have no limits. They'll do anything. And then you begin to see the bravery of people like Muslim bin Aqil, who Imam Hussein alayhi salam sent there before Muharram to Kufa. He met with Hani bin Urwa. He met with the pious people, the Shia of Kufa. He prayed in the mosque, and thousands of people prayed behind him. And then when word got out that Muslim was there and he was in a mosque and he was uh, surrounded by supporters, then the governor of Kufa then sent out troops to try and intercept him and threaten people that whoever follows him will be killed, will be tortured. So it says that narration said that a Muslim, just to describe him a little bit, he had actually been in the armies, some of the expeditions, the military expeditions, before Imam Hussein al-Islam obtained or received the imama from Imam Hassan al-Islam, and that he had been involved in some of the expeditions in Africa and some other places. It's narrated that he was a strong warrior, brave hero. And it's also narrated that in Karbala, the sons of Aqil went out with Imam Hussein al-Islam, and 9 of them were killed. Muslim was the bravest of them all. It's narrated in some places that he was at the forefront of Imam Hussein's forces and was killed by Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad in captivity. That must mean that he was killed in Kufa in captivity. It's narrated also that in Ahmed al-Kufi narrates in his book Al-Futuh that Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad sent 300 men led by Muhammad bin Al-Ash'ath to capture Muslim in Al-Kufa. And when Muslim heard the sound of the horses, he smiled and said, "O soul, go forth to the death, go forth to the death from which there is no escape." So Muslim went out against the troops like an angry lion, striking them with his sword and killing many. When Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad heard this, he sent a message to Muhammad bin al-Ash'ath saying, "Subhanallah, we sent you to bring us one man, and he inflicted great losses on you people." So Muhammad bin al-Ash'ath said, "O commander, don't you know you sent me to face a ferocious lion, a sharp sword in the hand of a mighty hero from the family of the best of mankind?" So Muslim was actually born in 22nd after Hijrah. Like I said earlier, his father was Aqil ibn Abi Talib, ibn Abdul Muttalib, ibn Hashim. And subhanAllah, it's difficult to pass by these names without saying a little bit about them. And this is from a pure lineage. It says that Hashim is actually buried in Gaza. Gaza is called Ghazatul Hashim. I'm not sure if his mosque is, if his mausoleum is still intact, or whether the Zionists have bombed it by now. And his son, of course, Abdul Muttalib, who was blessed, inspired to dig the well of Zamzam, inspired to do many things with the aid of the religion of Allah, to rebuild parts of the Kaaba, put the door there. And Abu Talib salamullahi alayhi was the Hamil al-Wasaya, so he had all the wills from the Prophet's family, and he handed them over to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family, and he protected the Prophet, and he was Muslim. He was a believer, and he protected the Prophet during his life. And his son Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salam. So, of course, Amir al-Mu'mineen. So Muslim is a cousin of Imam Hussein because Aqil is the brother of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And of course, in his family you have Ja'far. Sayyidina Ja'far al-Tayyar, salamullahi alayhi, who was martyred in Mu'tah, about whom the Prophet Muhammad said when Ja'far he led the expedition of Muhajirin, immigrants who migrated to Abyssinia. And when Ja'far returned after a number of years, and he went to actually he met the Prophet in Khaybar, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the time said to Ja'far, "Wallahi, I don't know. Am I more happy بقدوم Ja'far, with Ja'far coming back, or بفتح Khaybar, or with Khaybar being conquered?" This is how close Prophet Muhammad was to Al Bayt, especially the family around uh, Sayyidina Abu Talib. And Muslim was from the offspring of Aqil. So the whole clan was pious. They were just like lights on earth, lights of guidance on earth. So therefore, Muslim bin Aqil came from a noble family, purest of lineages. And he's mentioned in the book Maqatil al-Talibin. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the ability to read this amazing book, you will understand how the the stories of what happened with Al Bayt, the best of the best, really the best of the best. And yesterday we were reading about how when Abdullah Radi' was martyred, how the Maqta was saying that Hussein, after you have uh, been martyred, I don't deserve to sit under the shade of a house, meaning there's no life left after you. So when you read the stories of the Ahl al-Bayt, what happened to them, you feel like what's the point of this dunya? What's the point of this world when the best of the best have been treated in this way? Muslim he married his cousin Ruqayya, the daughter of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, and he had a son who was Abdullah. And Abdullah was martyred in Karbala, also killed by Amr bin Subayh. Muslim bin Aqil also had other children, and it's narrated that they were actually killed on the banks of the river Euphrates. So he had other children, I think two sons, as I recall, who survived, um, but then they were killed by at some point. There's a long story about them. Actually, it's a very sad story. A Muslim, Salaam was known for his physical strength and his vigor. Some sources say that he was strong enough to lift a man, throw him over a house. It's possible with the Al Bayt, the way they were strong, as courageous, brave, full of faith. These things were possible. And some people say he resembled the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I mean, just to give an idea, where to start, where to finish, brothers and sisters. There's a narration from Abu Huraira, who he often said things in favor of Al Bayt, sometimes said things against Al Bayt. But in some narrations, even he has said that I have never seen anyone from the descendants of Abdul Muttalib more similar to the Prophet Muhammad than Muslim bin Aqil. And this is in At-Tarikh al-Kabir by Al-Bukhari, and also in the book of Al-Thiqat by Ibn Hibban. Sunni narrations. Sunni narrations. Muslim, Salaamullah alayhi, participated in the Battle of Siffin. And Imam Ali alayhi salam, he would put him to lead the right flank of the army, along with Imam Hasan and Imam Hussein, and Abdullah bin Ja'far, even though Muslim wasn't even 18 years old. So all of the warriors, Abdal, warriors in Karbala were martyred. These were all warriors. They were the best of the best. They were battle hardened, as they say, and they were alongside Imam Hussein. They supported Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So he was in Siffin. As you know, Siffin was a battle in which Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam and goodness was fighting evil, the evil of Muawiyah and Amr ibn al-As and their army. So what happened, just to try and summarize these points here, after Muawiyah Lanatullah alayhi died and the peace treaty finished, which he had with previously with Imam Hassan and then now Imam Hussein, he already reneged and he cancelled and ignored the peace treaty anyway. Then Imam Hussein in Islam sent Muslim to Kufa in the end of Ramadan in 60 after Hijrah, because people of Kufa had written a lot of letters telling them about the situation, how they were under pressure, being tortured, killed by Muawiyah's generals in that region, the governor, etc., etc. So the Muslim arrived in Al-Madinah Munawwara, he prayed at the Prophet Muhammad's mosque, and then he went to Kufa. When he reached Kufa, he stayed at the house of Mukhtar bin Ubaid al-Thaqafi, Mukhtar bin Abi Ubaidah al-Thaqafi, and 18,000 people had pledged allegiance to him. So from there, he sent a letter to Imam Hussein alayhi salam on the 12th of Dhul Qa'dah. That's around 3 weeks before Imam Hussein, the Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hajjah, 3 weeks and a month before Muharram. So 3 weeks before Dhul Hajjah, Dhul Qa'dah. I'm getting my dates anyway, before Muharram either way. So he was informing Imam Hussein of people having accepted the allegiance of Imam Hussein. So then the followers of Banu Umayyah, they complained to Yazid about what was happening. And the governor was Nu'man bin Bashir. Nu'man bin Bashir. So the followers said that the governor was weak and he was not able to crush the Alawiyin, okay, the supporters of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So Yazid pointed Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, harsh man, harsh despot, Lanatullahi alayhi, as a new governor of Kufa, as well as Basra. And so then when Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad reached Kufa, he was accompanied by his followers and they began threatening and intimidating the people. So this affected the weak people. This is where it gets bad. And Muslim, Salamullah alayhi, moved to the house of Hani bin Urwa. If you go to Kufa again, you will see signs of where Hani bin Urwa's house was in Masjid Kufa, around that area. And so the Shia would visit Muslim bin Aqil in the house of Hani bin Urwa secretly. Hani was eventually arrested, and then Muslim then had to emerge on the 8th of Dhul Hajjah. So almost a month after, so Dhul Qa'dah, 12th of Dhul Qa'dah, Muslim sent a letter to Imam Hussein. Then 8th of Dhul Hajjah from Kufa, Muslim Salam alayhi finally has to emerge. However, here's where it goes bad. Never ever abandon justice and the truth. Because if one man abandons it, another person will follow him, another will follow him, another will follow him, another will follow him. You have to stop the rot, cut the rot out. You have to stop the tide of anti-justice. You have to stop it somehow. Even if one man is doing it, stand with that one man, fortify him. Unfortunately, what happened to Muslim bin Aqil, alayhi, they abandoned him. They left him alone. So to summarize, nobody would give him, after Hani was taken, nobody would give Muslim refuge. So Muslim had to find a place to live in, to stay in. He finally came across the house of a woman, some people call her Taw'a, who accepted to host him. Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam didn't used to always announce themselves and introduce themselves. So what happens, the story, how it goes, is Muslim bin Aqil, he spent the night in the house of this lady, but her son was a big supporter of the governor of Kufa, Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad. So she told Muslim to hide in a part of her house. Some people say it was the oven, which of course would have been off at the time. and she gave him water, she gave him refuge and shelter, because she realized he's a noble individual. But what happened was her son came and he was suspicious, and then he then went to the authorities and he told them that Muslim was hiding in his house. Muslim, who the Imam Hussein al-Islam had called him my brother, my cousin, and the trusted one from my household. He called him these names. So eventually, the narrations say that Muslim was then faced with a decision whether to hand himself over, whether to fight to protect himself, because not only was his life at stake, but also the Alawi cause, the cause of the supporters of Imam Ali alayhi salam and his descendants. So he decided to fight. And it's narrated that, like I said in the beginning, a group of people came to fight him, and he fought them off, and he attacked them like a lion. And then he went back and complained to Abdullah ibn Ziyad. Then he brought more people, and he brought more people until finally they managed to uh, overwhelm Muslim. It says that he killed 45 of their men before being overpowered, and they threw stones at him and they threw fire at him. And even after they struck him in the face, remember his face looked like the Prophet Muhammad's face, he continued to fight bravely. He continued to fight bravely. What they did to Muslim was they tried to force him to do bad things. Again, you can see how despots are always behaving. They tried to make him drink impure blood or impure drink. He didn't drink that. They threatened him. They tried to force him to go against Imam Hussein, weaken him in his spirit. He didn't listen to that. He remained steadfast and unyielding and steadfast to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Then what these accursed individuals they finally did, they they took him to the castle, as I understand, a tall building, or the castle of Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, Qasr they call it. It wouldn't have been a modern day looking castle, but a high tall building, maybe a few stories tall. And they threw him from the top of the building until he fell to the ground and he perished, and he was martyred. And then when news reached Imam Hussein, of course, Salaam alayhi, was deeply, deeply upset, and Muslims, brothers and sisters, also deeply upset. And it's narrated that there's a poem that was recited by his sister. Apparently, it was Asma, who lamented Imam Hussein and the martyrs in Medina. So the words go something like this: Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ماذا تقولون إن قال النبي لكم ماذا تقولون إن قال النبي لكم ماذا فعلتم وأنتم آخر الأمم. What will you say when your messenger says to you, what did you do when you are the last of the nations? بعترتي وبأهلي بعد مفتقدي منهم أسارى ومنهم ضرجوا بدمي. With my family and my descendants after I left you, some of them were captives and some of them were covered with their own blood. ما كان هذا جزائي إذ نصحت لكم أن تخلفوني بسوء في ذوي رحمي. This was not my reward if I explained to you that you shouldn't leave the household members of mine in a bad way. ضيعتم حقنا والله أو والله أوجبه وقد رعى الفيل حق البيت والحرم. You wasted our right and God had obligated it. Even the elephant was considerate of the rights of the house and the sanctity. إني لأخشى عليكم أن يحل بكم مثل العذاب الذي يأتي على الأمم. I am fearful on you that what should come to you is like the punishment which came to the previous nations. What the poem is saying here, ضيعتم حقنا والله أوجبه. You wasted our right and God obligated this on you. وقد رعى الفيل حق البيت والحرم. Even the elephant was considerate about the right of the house and the sanctity. So this sentence is very, very powerful, meaning I advised you, إني تارك فيكم ثقلين كتاب الله وعترتي أهل بيتي. I'm leaving amongst you two weighty things, the book of God and my close family members. That Allah made this obligation on you. إنما يريد الله أن يذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. God only wants to purify you, people of the house, completely. What the next section is saying is, even the elephant was considered of the house and the sanctity. This is referring to when Abraha, in the time of Abdul Muttalib, salamullahi alayhi, was Abdul Muttalib was in Makkah. He was like the leader of Makkah, and when he got news that Abraha, the the king from Yemen, wanted to destroy the Kaaba because he had his own Kaaba he'd made in Yemen, he brought an army of elephants to Makkah. And when Abdul Muttalib salamullahi alayhi realized this, he came out to meet Abraha. Abdul Muttalib was the grandfather of the Prophet, grandfather of Imam Ali alayhi salam also. So he came out to meet Abraha, and Ibn Ishaq, the historian, says that Abdul Muttalib salamullahi alayhi, he sat on the ground, and Abraha came off his elephant to sit on the ground with him. And he was deeply impressed with Abdul Muttalib because of the holy lineage of the Prophet's family. So Sayyidina Abdul Muttalib, he tried to reason with Abraha. He said, you shouldn't try to destroy. This is the house of God. And Abraha didn't listen. And so Abdul Muttalib said, okay, then allow me some time that I can take my camels and I can leave. And then Abraha said, well, I thought you were a pious man, but you only care about your camels. So then Sayyidina Abdul Muttalib, he said, the camels are mine, the house is God's. I will take care of what's mine, and God will take care of what's his. And there's a narration that there's a story from one of the Ansar, or who support Ahmed Al-Hasan. He saw a dream one time, and Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan said to him, you should if you should keep supporting the Hujjah and not abandon him, because God will bring supporters even if there's no human being. Because in the time of Abdul Muttalib, he didn't find anyone to support him against Abraha. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what he did, he sent the birds, Ababil birds, to destroy Abraha. So Allah will defend what's his. But it's our fault if we don't stand up for the Hujjah. So what happened was, Sayyidina Abdul Muttalib salam alayhi, he left. He went to get his camels. Then he went to the Kaaba. And then he did dua. He said, Ya Allah, this army is about to destroy your house, protect it. And he took his camels and he went into the hills of Makkah. And that's when the birds came. And before the birds came, it's narrated that they tried to go towards the Kaaba to destroy the Kaaba. But what happened? the main elephant, whose name was Mahmud, they say his name was Mahmud, on whom Abraha was riding, he refused to move. He refused to move. So they whipped him, beat him, whipped him, sticks with the swords, everything, chains, but he wouldn't move. So this poem is talking about that instance where it says, even the elephant was considerate to the right of the house and the sanctity, the holy sanctity. So it says, you Ummah, you killed Imam Hussein, you killed his companions, you killed Muslim bin Aqil, you took away the rights of the Prophet's family, on whom, Ya Ikhwan, unbelievable what happened, that sadaqah is not allowed on the Prophet's family. In the Hawza, we learned that it's not allowed on any of Sayyidina Abdul Muttalib's descendants, none of them. That includes Abu Talib, it even includes Sayyidina Abdullah, it includes Hamza, it includes Abbas, it includes even the other ones who were not siding with the Prophet Muhammad, it includes all of them. Sadaqah was not allowed on them. They were not allowed to take sadaqah because they're royalty. And this ummah, it sought out every single person and tried to destroy them and kill them. And not just kill them, butcher them. Butcher them. So Muslim bin Aqil, in a sense, he's like the Sayyid Ahmed Hasan, he's like the messenger for Imam Mahdi. So Sayyid Ahmed Hasan is like Muslim bin Aqil for Imam Mahdi, Ajr Farjahu Sharif. In the same way, the correspondents of the office in Najaf are like the messengers for the Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan, like Muslim bin Aqil was for Imam Hussein. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala support them. So this sunnah, like I was saying in the beginning, this sunnah, this habit, this practice of the Sayyid is very closely linked to Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. I couldn't leave this topic without doing at least a little bit of ziyarah of Sayyidina Muslim bin Aqil, salamullahi alayhi. السلام عليك أيها العبد الصالح المطيع لله ولرسوله ولأمير المؤمنين والحسن والحسين عليهم السلام الحمد لله وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى محمد وآله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته ومغفرته وعلى روحك وبدنك. Peace be upon you, O pious servant, obedient one to God and His Messenger, and to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam, and Al-Hasan wal-Hussein, on them be peace. And thanks to God and peace on His servants who He chose, who are Muhammad and his family, and peace and blessings on you, and mercy and His forgiveness on your soul and your body. أشهد أنك مضيت على ما مضى عليه البدريون المجاهدون في سبيل الله المبالغون في جهاد أعدائه ونصرة أوليائه، فجزاك الله أفضل الجزاء وأكثر الجزاء وأوفر الجزاء أحد ممن وفى ببيعته. I bear witness that you spent your life on that which the people of Badr, the warriors, spent in the path of God, the ones who reached the highest levels of jihad against his enemies and supported his friends. So God give you reward, the best kind and the most abundant kind of reward. واستجاب له دعوته وطاع ولاة أمره, and may God accept your dua and your acceptance of the wilayah. أشهد أنك قد بالغت في النصيحة وأعطيت غاية المجهود حتى بعثك الله في الشهداء. I bear witness that you gave advice and you gave everything in jihad until God sent you, included you amongst the martyrs. وجعل روحك مع أرواح السعداء, and put your soul with the soul of those, the lucky ones. وأعطاك من جنانه أفسحها منزلا وأفضلها غرفا, and he gave you the widest possible paradise. ورفع ذكرك في العليين وحشرك مع النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وحسن أولئك رفيقا, and he's raised your name in the raised, elevated ones, and he will gather you with the prophets and the truthful ones, and the martyrs and the pious ones, and they are the best of companions. أشهد أنك لم تهن ولم تنكل وأنك قد مضيت على بصيرة. I bear witness that you didn't ever grow weak and didn't give up, and you when you passed your life with wisdom من أمرك مقتديا بالصالحين ومتبعا للنبيين. You followed the pious ones and followed the prophets. فجمع الله بيننا وبينك وبين رسوله وأوليائه في منازل المخبتين فإنه أرحم الراحمين. So God gathered us all with his messenger and his friends in the highest levels of the hereafter. He is the most merciful one. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآل محمد الطيبين الطاهرين الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. إن شاء الله time for نوحة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. حسين غريب.
Shall we read?
بسم الله, توكل على الله. بسم الله.
Hello? Hello?
توكل على الله. بسم الله. حسين الغريب. I think أعتقد حسين الغريب صح؟ right?
Bismillah, brother. Shall I read?
بسم الله.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. You are the grandson of Mustafa, one of the 12 sons of Fatima, the purest of soul with highest purity. Yet thousands who called Muslims showed no loyalty. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein.
حسين.
Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. They knew you among those who entered Kisa, and yet they left you with no shroud in Karbala. The cloak of Yamani is crying for you, which made us to cry for the sake of Hussein, Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein, Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein. You are the teacher of charity. You fed the horses of your enemy. From darkness into light you set poor free, who died as Shaheed and father of Shaheed. You pleaded for Asghar, who was thirsty. Arrows they fed for your infant baby. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein. You are the lantern of guidance to see. You are the salvation of all humanity. Those who got in your light called out your name. In your arms you carried them back till only you remain. Sakina, your daughter, went from crying in your arms to see the head off on the spear in the court of Sham. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein, Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein. You are the root and of the branch that sweet Zain al-Abidin, a branch that weakened with what his eyes had seen. He endured the scene of Karbala and held his belief. Added to his own suffering, no sign of his relief. The sight of women and children tied in chains, and hearing Zainab crying, Pain Aina Hussein, Hussein al Gharib, al Gharib, al Hussein, Hussein al Shahid, al Shahid al Hussein, Hussein al Gharib, غريب الحسين حسين الشهيد الشهيد الحسين No Qasim, no On, no Muhammad, no Abbas, no Akbar, no Asghar, you lost them all so fast. O Allah, please accept this humble sacrifice, the words of Imam when Asr time arrived. O Allah, what has he lost, he who loses you? But O Allah, what can he lose, he who finds you? Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein, Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein. You are the savior of mankind. Today we call you Mahdi as a sign. For surely he grieved over tortured beloved and laments on the trials of Ummul Musayyab. Ya Ahmed Al-Hasan, we vow and we grieve in the light of Al-Hussein. Together we believe Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein al-Shahid, الشهيد الحسين حسين الغريب الغريب الحسين حسين الشهيد الشهيد الحسين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعلى آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا.
Just want to read one thing quickly if I can. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد المهدي والمهديين وسلم تسليما. This is a poem in tribute to Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. With every passing day, our grief grows more. Sadness that reaches our inner core. Every passing day, the pain gets worse. Bitter tears with sudden outbursts. Haunted by events that took place. Good and evil now both have a face. We are shocked by how many haters came. They showed no mercy to even a thirsty babe. We're so proud of you, how you stood firm. Your champions who fulfilled their term. Feels like we are watching so afar, trying to reach the place where you are. I guess tears are for the true patron who follows the Imam and seeks his haven. The human journey, such cruel, cruel twists. Both angels and demons are in our midst. Bloodlines in opposition, only one true leader. People changing sides, most of them are non-believers. We cherish the ground on which you walked, O Hussein. We long to hear how you would have talked. Your hand of allegiance we would wish to clasp, but your enemies snatched away that chance. The little we know about you is a burden we bear. The events we heard are like a nightmare. They didn't tell us this. They didn't tell us this when we were young. Now your name is forever on our tongues. In no way are we perfect, nor are we great. We are just hoping that we are not too late. We think of you every single day and flock to your Majalis. We just can't stay away. We will honor your name every single day and pledge to listen to what Ahmed Al-Hasan says. We hearken to his words, lending our ears. Ahmed Al-Hasan, the Hussein of the era. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد لمتي والمهديين وسلم تسليما كثيرا. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. ألا لعنة الله على من ظلم آل محمد من الأولين والآخرين. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this humble gathering. It's not about the numbers. It's about what we pass on to the next generations. Because even if they're few in numbers, they say, مجهول في الأرض معروف في السماء أو كما قالوا عليه الصلاة والسلام. People who are supporters of the Qaim in the end times are unknown in the earth, but they are known to the people of the heavens. So the angels and the Ahl Bayt, they see the gatherings of such nature as lights shining from the earth and then amongst all the darkness. So it's not about how many come, it's just that whoever comes, they are lucky. Whoever reaches me, he has surely reached success. And Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan said that this means whoever reaches the Hussein of his time, he will reach salvation. So this value will always be available for those who want to take it. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. May Allah establish the Qaim of Ali Muhammad in the earth and the Baqiyatullah, the remnant of Allah in the earth, who is Imam Mahdi, and the Qaim is Sayyid Ahmed Hassan. May He establish them, give them success and their progeny success, and may He put us with them and their progeny and our progeny with them and their progeny. وصلى الله على محمد وعلى محمد الطيبين الطاهرين الأئمة والمهديين. May God send blessings and peace upon Muhammad and his family, the good and the pure, and send peace and abundance. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Fi man Allah wa hifdhihi.
Shall we start the recording?